Hey there, hope you're doing really well today and that you had a nice weekend. We are going to talk about several questions today. Included among them, Patrick is asking a little bit about sleep anxiety, and we have Brent who has questions about benzodiazepines, medications for insomnia. We're going back to a comment from Grace regarding a Klebsiella pneumonia infection. Could that be contributing to her trouble sleeping, and much more? So before we get started, as always, nothing here is a medical advice to anyone, just general thoughts, general comments that I hope will be helpful to you and anyone that is tuning in. So with that said, actually, let's move right into our inbox and start with actually. Scott sent us a question, which is the following. Hi, Daniel. What are the books, podcasts, or videos that you recommend for overcoming insomnia? Thank you, Scott, for that question. It is a very good one. And I want to turn immediately to my favorite book, which is this one, The Effortless Sleep Method by Sasha Stevens. I think Sasha is like she's great. She's amazing. She has it's a very easy read, very practical, no fluff or anything like that. Her stories, she had insomnia for like 13 years. Seems like she was really went down the rabbit hole and then went camping. I think it was camping. Or she was outdoors, something like that. Realized she was doing well actually, and she wrote this amazing book. She has a kind of follow-up. A follow-up to the effortless sleep method is definitely the place to start. But if you read it and you feel like you want more, this is also very good. Bedtime stories for insomniacs. This book is more kind of like tidbits, like snippets, if you will. So it's not a good place to start, but it's also a very, very good book filled with insights. There's another good book if you are looking for something more. How should I put it? More kind of scientific, kind of rigorous, academic, like that. Then a book that a lot of people come across, which is a very good one, is Say Goodnight to Insomnia by Greg Jacobs. Say Goodnight to Insomnia by Greg Jacobs. Very good book. It's somewhere here behind me. I want to mention one more book, which is this one. This the books I talked about before are basically like the CBTI. Even though Sasha Stevens doesn't say that, it's really CBTI. This book is the Sleep Book by Dr. Guy Meadows. Very different approach. He uses what's called acceptance commitment therapy, ACT, which I think it's a difficult technique. It evolves around like not reacting to your thoughts and feelings, kind of taking a step outside from them, looking at your feelings from the outside so they don't kind of disturb you or affect you that much. So not that easy, but those are the books I recommend, really good ones. Now, in terms of podcasts, I can come up with one that is like sleep oriented that is very good, which is my good friend's podcast, Martin Reed, REED. If you go to insomniacoach.com or you search wherever you get your podcasts for Insomnia Coach, you will find it. It centers around success stories, which is always a very helpful, inspiring, etc. That's a good one. I want to share a podcast that my wife listens to, and whenever my wife tells me about it, I was like, oh, that's so true, that's so applicable to sleep, etc., is the Life Coach School podcast by Brooke Castillo. That seems to be very, very good. I only heard snippets from it, but that seems to be a very good one. In terms of videos, I can't think of any specific one that I think is very good, but I would say, apart from my channel here, again, Martin Reed also has a YouTube channel, which is very good. So I think those, in summary, those are my recommendations there. Hope that helps, Scott. Thanks for that question. With that said, let's move on to a question from Patrick, who has asked about sleep anxiety in the past, and he shared another question with us 11 hours ago. Hi, Daniel. Feel free to take your time answering this. I was hoping I had moved past this, but have been struggling again lately. At least I know I can get better, though. I will admit I have been slacking and sleeping in without a regular wake up time recently. That is the first step I will change. Just wanted to get your thoughts on this. I've noticed the biggest factor of causing either good sleep or poor sleep is the level of comfort you feel in bed. I used to feel cozy all the time in bed before all this happened. Now that is difficult to achieve. It returned to me for quite a while when I was sleeping well again, but now it kind of comes and goes. My frustration is I can't find a trend or root cause for this, just looking for any insight. And if it relates to others, what steps they took to achieve better sleep. This is a very good question, and I think I understand what's happening. When somebody's sleeping well, they look forward to going to bed. Going to bed feels great. You're like in this comfortable, cozy space, and you are, you look forward to. Although you're not probably not thinking about it, you are kind of subconsciously looking forward to just drifting off to sleep and sleeping well, right? So what I want to point out there is like cozy, comfortable is not so much about the physical aspects of your bed. It's not cozy as in like, it may feel like it was cozy, the blankets felt cozy, but it's really emotional. It's like emotionally felt cozy and comfortable in bed. And what's happened is with trouble sleeping, you don't have that emotional reaction when you go to bed, and it doesn't feel comfy or cozy. So the question then becomes like, how can you go back to that? How can the bed the bed feel comfy, comfortable, cozy, something you look forward to again? Well, it's really everything I talk about in this channel is really to get you back there. Uh, and I think the important thing here is I don't believe you can change anything in your bed, your bedroom, to make it more cozy so that you sleep better. I think it's the other way around. It's when you start sleeping better that you look forward to going to bed again, and that the bed and the bedroom, everything becomes more comfy and cozy. So I think what you were planning to do, getting out of bed at the same time every day, which you have not been doing, I really think that's the key. I know I say this all the time. You probably are sick of me hearing this, but set it and forget it. Like, get up the same time every morning. Don't spend too much time in bed. Do things during the day that you enjoy, and the rest will follow. The confidence, the looking forward to going to bed, all that will follow. Patrick, I hope that helped, and I hope that answered your question. And yeah, I think that was all I felt I wanted to say there. So with that said, let's move on here to a question or two from Vince. Let's read it. This came in one day ago. Again, thank you, Daniel. Maybe I did sleep a little more than I think. And just a a commentary there. Vince had sent me an email previously where he had been playing basketball for like a long time, didn't feel tired or anything, and he was unsure if he thought he didn't sleep much at all, but he was like not so sure. And I said, you probably slept more than you thought. I will still follow my sleep window, and hopefully for maybe just one night, I feel so sleepy that I feel I slept the whole night. That is my goal, but I cannot focus on that because it will become my sleep effort. I feel that I can continue like this for many more days because of hyperarousal. I know I have to enjoy life to shift attention. My question is, do you have a client that followed their sleep window for 14 days or more days, but feel good, even though they feel they didn't sleep? I think, let's see if there was another. Oh yeah, and then Vince said, sorry for the wrong grammar in a mail. I think it was the last part here. My question is, do you have a client that followed their sleep window for 14 days or more, but they felt good, even though they felt they didn't sleep, and then they finally slept? I want to say, you definitely like. I've come across a lot of people that have for weeks felt like they hardly slept at all, estimated sleeping like 2 hours or 3 hours, but still had this like weird, like, I feel good during the day, I don't feel sleepy, I don't feel tired. It's odd. I've definitely had people that had felt like that for several weeks. And by the way, one thing I was like really want to highlight here for anyone who's tuning in, check this out. Vince is saying, I will still fall asleep when hopefully one night I'll feel so sleepy that I sleep the whole night. That's my goal, but I cannot focus on that because it will become my sleep effort. That is insight. That is pure insight. Vince is telling us, sharing with us, that he understands that if his goal is to sleep the whole night, that creates kind of pressure to sleep, preoccupation with hyperarousal that keeps exactly that from happening. So I'm super, super glad to read those lines, Vince. I'm very, very happy to read those lines. All right. Now, a question here that came in just 2 hours ago is from Linda. Thank you, Linda, for this question. Do you talk about sudden hyperarousal and by do nothing, meaning like not trying to solve sudden hyperarousal, just letting go? You would be able to fall asleep that way. I had the same exact problem for a while, so it's nice to know I was not the only one who had it. So because I'm so literal, you should see me try and understand directions when I'm driving, LOL. My question is, by not doing anything when the sudden hyperarousal happens, are you allowing your brain to get past it and transition you into sleep? Exactly. Okay, I think I get the question. And by the way, if you have not listened to Talking Insomnia number 16, that's kind of where it all started. That's Alex. Like he guested me as a guest. And similar questions to this one, but if you want to hear me and him talk there, talking song number 16, you should tune into that. Now, question is, by not doing anything when this happens, or allowing your brain to get past it. And by the way, for those of you who wonder what is this sudden arousal, hyperarousal she's talking about, it's what Alex described as like he's about to fall asleep and suddenly he becomes like very, very aware of that he was about to fall asleep, and then that kind of jolts him out of that process of falling asleep, sudden hyperarousal. And now here's my thinking. I just talked about it as a sudden hyperarousal, but in a way it's more a sudden, I would call it more like a sudden alertness or a sudden increase in hyperarousal or something like that. Hyperarousal is kind of the baseline state that you're in that makes these type of events like hypnic jerks or like jolting out of sleep, sudden energy, these type of things make that more likely. Now, when this happens, you're not doing anything. What you're doing is you're allowing yourself to see that nothing bad happened, nothing followed. You fell asleep that time, which means that the moment it happened, or like the next moment, or not something like that, like in a brief time span of like one night or something like that, I think not doing anything doesn't make a difference that particular night. But over the long term, when you're not reacting to this at all, you're not doing anything to stop it, to change the process, you over time prove to yourself that it's not a big deal. That even you fall back asleep, and in the long term, your hyperarousal overall goes down, and these events happen less and less. So I think, yes, you're allowing your brain to get past and transition into sleep over a course of days or weeks, not so much that particular instant when it happens. Although, now to kind of contradict myself slightly, if you're about to fall asleep and this thing happens and you don't react to it at all, then yes, potentially immediately you could go back to sleep. But I think it's more so in the long run that it's helpful, and you allow yourself to transition to sleep by not creating more hyperarousal by doing something. It's funny because I've had the same type of question and the same difficulty in a way to clearly answer them with both Alex, and there was another person who asked these very similar questions nearly. But I hope this helped, Linda. If it didn't, then please come back with a follow-up question, and I'll really try to clarify my thoughts then. All right. So with this said, we are going to move into the comment section, where we have a number of comments actually that I wanted to talk about. And the first one is going to be, I believe, this one from Grace. So this is Grace from Talking Insomnia number 17. And in fact, pardon me here, but I think instead of looking at that, I think she had actually sent me an email which was maybe more detailed than her comment. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. So Grace said the following. This was 3 days ago. Hello, Daniel. Like I said before, I still continue to have some sleep misperception issues. Sleep misperception is when you believe you didn't sleep much or at all when you actually slept quite a bit more than you thought. I've been slowly improving with the CBTI, thankfully, where I am able to remember less throughout the night. I still have some difficulty feeling tired or falling asleep, but I'm continuing on working with that and celebrating the fact that I've been getting better, like you said, exclamation mark. This is awesome. This is really good. I have some new news as well, colon. I had an appointment come up for a rheumatologist since I tested ANA positive. She said she doubted that I had an autoimmune disease because I had few symptoms and my ANA titer was low. She decided to run some tests anyway, just in case, and what do you know? I tested positive for Klebsiella pneumoniae. I'm currently on antibiotics for this bacterial infection, but I was reading up on it, and it can cause many issues with your brain, blood, eyes, and irritation in my eyes. Felt more extreme than usual, but I ignored it, just assumed it was probably having bad allergies because I just moved in somewhere where there are 2 dogs. My sleeping problem started abruptly, and I'm wondering if maybe this infection could have been the culprit. I heard that it can cause meningitis and issues with your central nervous system. I hope I don't scare anybody with this. I don't want to cause any paranoia, but I thought it could possibly help someone in a similar situation. I'll be very interested to find out. Still, I continue to use the CBTI techniques. I will definitely keep you up to date and if my sleeping conditions improve or not. Thanks so much. Firstly, Grace, I don't remember the timeline exactly, but it wasn't that long ago since I talked to you, and that you've been, seeing improvements is amazing. That's really, really good. Sometimes it takes, I'm not surprised. For most people, I want to say, within 1 to 2 weeks, there are improvements. Fall back asleep a little faster, sleep a little, something like that. That's not uncommon at all. But even if it's not uncommon, it's still, you have to celebrate it. Like, when you celebrate improvement, you're affirming that you're getting better. You kind of like, giving yourself a pat on the back. You're growing your sleep confidence. It is really good. You should celebrate it. But you should also not, I'm going in a little bit of a tangent here. When you're doing better, you should also not analyze it. You should not go like, why am I sleeping better? I have to do more of that. No, just set it and forget it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Spend less time in bed, shift attention, etc. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. Now, I think in the comment section, Grace had said something to the effect of like, actually, let's try to find it here. I want to read it here. This is another comment on Talking Insomnia number 17, actually from Grace. She said, I come from a small town. And he said, I tested positive for the infection. My doctor thinks it's worth to investigate. I'll continue it. I think I can't find it now actually, but Grace said something to the effect that, maybe this infection is not everything. Maybe it's both kind of anxiety and this infection that cause her to have trouble sleeping. So I want to say the following: that you should for sure listen to your doctor. Check what they want you to do. That's the most important. But as a kind of general advice, general thoughts here, insomnia is never really a mystery. I've never ever come across anybody that has gone on to get past their insomnia after they found out that it was this weird thing, this was unusual thing that was causing their insomnia. A lot of people are looking for that thing, the kind of neurotransmitter imbalance, the hormonal thing, the brain switch, that odd thing that was causing their trouble sleeping. But when you talk to people that are now sleeping well, they all say the same thing. They all say, I'm sleeping well now because I'm not caring so much about my sleep. I'm not paying so much attention to it. I'm not investigating it. I'm not worried. I'm not thinking about it. That is the key to sleeping better. So again, you should do what your doctors tell you to do. But general thing is that it is when we let go of the desire to try to find out why we can't sleep well that we start sleeping well. And by the way, Grace, I know if you're tuning in here, I know you kind of anticipated me saying that based on one of your questions or one of your comments here. But anyway, the most important thing is that you're doing better. And I totally believe if you keep doing what you're doing, you will do even better. And with that said, I think I want to actually share another comment here, which was from Adobo 1970. Oh, there it is. There it is. So Adobo 1970 has written a couple of comments on this Talking Insomnia number 17 and shared that he or she, I always get this wrong when I guess, so I'm going to say she, had trouble sleeping for a long time and then no longer has that. So I asked her, what was really helpful for you? And she said, "Hi, Daniel. The eureka moment came when I realized that absolutely nothing was wrong with me to have all these chronic insomnia symptoms, including paradoxical insomnia, which is the same as sleep state misperception, where we sleep much more than you think you do. Like the person in the podcast, Grace, I never had sleep issues prior, but then when I developed chronic insomnia, all of a sudden, all kinds of strange things were happening to me. But after my eureka moment, it became obvious that these symptoms were part of my hyper monitoring and being hyper alert. This is pure insight right here, pure insight. In any case, the clinician treating me told me, to paraphrase, CBTI is the magic bullet for chronic insomnia. And all the hyper-analysis and seeking out underlying neurological conditions that may have caused insomnia is not going to change the treatment choice and really was only negatively affecting my ability to sleep. When I trusted that following CBTI principles diligently would make me sleep better, in time I became less hyper-alert and hyper-monitored less, which helped me sleep better, which helped me even become even less alert and monitor less and sleep better again. I realized chronic insomnia was nothing more than a Chinese finger puzzle. The harder I tried to pull against it, the more trapped I became. And conversely, after implementing some basic changes, the less I tugged, the less chronic insomnia had a grip on me. Over time, I eventually became free. This whole comment is like pure insight. This is exactly what it's about. And I'm so happy that Adobo 1970 that you share this. And everybody out there, I think you should totally read this comment on Talking Insomnia number 17. And I actually asked Adobo 1970 to come on as a podcast guest. No pressure, but if you'd like to, I would love to have you talk about that. Cool. Now, let's move on here to a couple of comments. So Brent Jones, thanks so much for all the comments. Really good questions and everything. I hope I can get through all of them. So the first one day ago, is from Insomnia Insight number 52, a comment there. And it's an episode on jerky body movements. And let's see, why can I not see? I feel like I cannot see the entire comment. Maybe it's here. It says, could benzodiazepine withdrawal cause this? I'm having it every night, all night, waking up exhausted. And then I kind of said I would, that could certainly happen, and a little bit more than that. But then Brent Jones said, also, thanks, really appreciate it. I'm on a pretty low dose of antihistamine to try to help with it, and just the benzodiazepine. My main concern is I've been having this sleep interruption where I'll be sleeping and I'll jerk awake for quite a while. It's like every time my brain tries to go into deep sleep, it gets shaken out of it. I get some really crazy dreams sometimes too. From what I've read, I think I've hit tolerance from being on the benzodiazepine long term. The only way to get out of tolerance is to withdraw from the medication. But the more I taper off the benzodiazepine, the worse the hypnic jerks and sleep interruption gets. I'm just kind of confused on what to do really, because the sleep I'm getting is horrible. I didn't know if once a person comes off a sedative completely, the nervous system should rebalance completely. right? And let's stop there for a second and say the last thing there, once you come off a sedative completely, the nervous system will rebalance, right? Yes, absolutely. It's just a matter of time, and then it hits that rebalancing. Now, the more important thing, or not more important, but the real important point to make, I feel, is the following: that when someone, oh hey, Brent Jones has tuned in here live, and Vector 333 as well. I will definitely answer questions here live. Before I want to make this, or before that, I just want to make this one point. Well, yes, when you're taking any medication for sleep, whether it's a benzodiazepine or like an antihistamine or whatever it is, they all do the same thing. They're all sedating. They take away some of that hyperarousal, anxiety, stress, etc., and then that allows your body to sleep. Right. Important point here is that the medications, no medications can make you sleep. No medication can make you sleep, can produce sleep. Now, when you stop taking medication, yes, some of that sedating chemicals are not in your brain anymore, and that can produce some kind of rebound insomnia or more hypnic jerks or weird sensations that are driven by hyperarousal. But that goes away within maybe a day or 2 days or something. It'll be out of your system, and you don't have that. And if the rebound insomnia was only due to the chemicals, you'd have more trouble, right? So in my opinion, the real reason why you have so much rebound jerkiness, rebound insomnia, rebound stuff going on is the self-monitoring and the ambiguity. Meaning, like, you used to take this medication and now you're only taking half of it. Then you go to bed, you're like, oh, what's going to happen? Is this going to happen? Should I take half of it? What if I go back? What if this happens? Oh, there it happened again. That self-monitoring that comes when you go down or stop taking medications, that creates so much hyperarousal. That I believe the key to coming off medications, just decide how to do it. I'm going to have it, and then I'm going to have it, then I'm going to be off or something like that, and not question it. The whole questioning it, the whole self-monitoring, that produces so much rebound insomnia. I want to say I believe it's the same thing for the jerks, that they mainly happen because we're thinking about what's going to happen, worried about what's going to happen when we come off the medications. That creates hyperarousal, creates more jerking. So there's some more, but let's go to these live questions, which is really cool. So Brent asks, what produces sleep drive? Since I got on medications, my natural sleep drive has disappeared. Only one single thing can produce sleep drive, and that's wakefulness. The only thing that can produce a strong sleep drive, a desire to sleep, bodily desire to sleep, is wakefulness. And that's why spending less time in bed is so important. So that's the answer there. Vector 333 asks, has insomnia been known to relate to the feeling of deja vu at all in your experience? I noticed that following nights of insomnia, I experience the sensation more frequently than usual. I have not seen any studies on deja vu particularly. I do want to say that I've heard this one very frequently, out of body experience. I feel like completely out of body, kind of surreal feeling. That one I've heard a lot. So it wouldn't surprise me, as we kind of now we start talking about it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if somebody commented here or commented in the future saying oh yeah, I've also had more deja vu after having insomnia. So it wouldn't surprise me. And thanks so much, Vector 333 and Brent Jones, for chiming in here live. And with that said, I felt there was another couple of questions from Brent that were really good, and I kind of wanted to go over them. I think that was not the one. Okay, let's move on here. And Vince said that one. Adobo, we talked about that one. We talked about this one. Okay. And Brent again, another question on insomnia, inside number 278, and said the following. Can some sleep anxiety medications cause neural adaptations in the brain that causes tolerance when the medication no longer works effectively, which can cause withdrawal symptoms like insomnia? Pretty sure that's what's happening to me. Can the brain return to pre-drug and sleep naturally? I think the answer to this is definitely the brain goes back to its regular state for sure. you cannot harm your brain or disrupt your sleep circuitry or anything like that by taking medications. Now, yes, the whole neuroadaptation, I believe that could certainly be true, that you take a certain amount of sedating medications, then you kind of develop tolerance and you need more to become equally sedated, etc. But again, the more problematic thing I believe with medications is that they take away kind of your sleep confidence, and coming off of them leads to all the self-monitoring. Then I don't think so. I think the tolerance is real, but I don't think it's the reason why you have so much rebound insomnia or things of that nature. We have actually, let's see here, Jay, literally as I'm talking here, sent a message, and I think Jay, if you're here live, it wasn't that I forgot, but I didn't really know that was a question. But oh yeah, I think maybe this one. Jay had said he listened to the episode about grace and said that I felt a little bit, he was asking, like, she said in her video that she lost the ability to sleep completely, but then she says she sleeps every night for 6 to 8 hours but doesn't feel rested. What was that was before she started having trouble sleeping. She would sleep 6 to 8 hours and not feel rested, but that's not what's happening now. Now when she really had trouble sleeping, she often felt like she didn't sleep at all. And I think if you listen to the entire thing, I think you'll find that, Jay. If not, just let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be super happy to answer those, of course. In that said, let's see. I believe we may have answered. I believe we actually answered all the questions. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I'm so grateful for all the questions, all the comments, and if you have one, then please let me know. And I'm gonna probably out here soon. But one more question from Brent. So you think if I can get out of my medications, my natural sleep and sleep drive will return? Yeah, I think I would argue the opposite, that it cannot not return, or another way to put it is like it never went away. It's the hyperarousal, the worry, the preoccupation with sleep that creates this sensation that you don't have any sleep drive, which is a common one. It's like, I never feel sleepy is a very common expression. Like Vince, who's been asking a lot of questions over the past few months here, like, I never feel sleepy. I don't sleep at all, yet I have all this energy during the day, and like something's wrong with my sleep drive. No, it's not that. It's the hyperarousal. It's the kind of constant thinking about sleep, trying to figure out why you can't sleep, the self-monitoring, the all that stuff makes you feel like you're never sleepy. It feels like your sleep drive is gone, but it's there. It's always there. It cannot be hurt. It cannot go away. It cannot be disrupted or anything like that. And another, person I always refer to is Ellen, who, when she initially contacted me, was like in that boat where she was like, I sleep 2 hours or nothing at all. I have all this energy. She started implementing CBTI, and lo and behold, by spending less time in bed, she became less hyper aroused. She started feeling her sleep drive again. And you never forget those when people tell you, like, I feel sleepy again, and like, whoa, I fell asleep again. Oh, I can nap, and things like that. It's like, feels like this. It feels like the sleep drive is coming back, but it's not that. It's the hyperarousal that is going down. You can feel your sleep drive again. So yeah, with that said, I will end here. I have to actually go get my kids from somewhere, but I will be back Thursday and answering questions here again. And it's really cool having some live questions. So I look forward to doing this again. Well, that said, thanks for tonight. And again, I'll be back soon.